SummerSlam too. It's our good pal Matt Matera from Pewter Report. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing great, Jay. Awesome to be talking to you, and thank you for having me on.
You got it, pal. Have you watched WWE Unreal yet on Netflix?
No, I haven't. I've seen all the marketing and the publicity about it. And I think what I'm going to do is binge watch it at some point, but not for like a couple of months, because it's still talking about storylines that are, in my opinion, like still kind of fresh or that weren't too long ago. And I don't want to see how the sausage is made just yet. I think like down the road, when, you know, other storylines evolve and things of that nature, it'll be more fun to look back and see how they went about it. But it's still too new for me to kind of go in and dive in. But I think it'll be very interesting.
Our guy Robert Cochran, always watching from Oklahoma City, he just said Cena over Cody at SummerSlam. So
I agree.
think Matt's a big John Cena fan. You're gonna like that. I've only watched like a episode and a half, and it's pretty much like the Raw. The first episode was kind of like the Raw and Netflix kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But with John Cena, and I just saw a clip today of Cena, Rollins, Punk, McIntyre, Logan Paul, all those guys from the Elimination Chamber talking about the finish to Elimination Chamber.
That's cool.
And it was like really, really cool. I like that kind of stuff. I was a little worried because I think part of what I love about WWE is the mystique, right? It's like, all right, we get it. Like for the people that are fans like you and I, we get it. We don't need to be like, hey guys, guess what? It's predetermined. Like there's no disclaimer at the beginning of every Game of Thrones episode. Like these dragons aren't real. Like, you know what I mean? Like they don't have that. So so I was a little worried that it was going to be a little bit much, but I think it was good. I don't think they went too deep into how the sausage is made.
Okay, that's good to hear. And like anyone that wants to kind of hate on wrestling, I would argue and say that John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, all of these guys are better than your favorite actor. I love Leo. I love Denzel. It takes them 50 to 100 takes to get one good scene.
Right.
They get one take and they get it done. So, I mean, whatever your favorite movie is, the WWE has better actors than your favorite actor.
You got that right, buddy. All right, so real quick, SummerSlam before we get to the Buccaneers. Obviously Cena over Cody. Any other matches, any other surprises that you're keeping your eye on going forward to this weekend?
So I'm not going to be able to watch on Saturday because I'm going to be attending my friend's wedding. So I do love the fact that Sunday is all like no DQ, street fight, steel cage. Because I love the matches where anything can happen and there's no DQs. I'd rather watch a match with tables, ladders, and chairs and weapons and all that stuff and steel chairs and things like that than like just a one-on-one matchup. Like this guy's a great technical wrestler. Or this girl's a great technical wrestler. I think the steel cage with Solo and Jacob Fatu will be very interesting. I'm curious how, you know, there's going to be interference and they're all going to come in. So how does that interference kind of go about? I'm the triple threat match. I don't remember if it's Saturday or Sunday, but with Naomi and Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, I think is going to be incredible. And yeah, I'm just excited for the chaos overall, especially all the no DQ and street fight stuff on Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt about the TLC match with all those tag teams for SmackDown should be pretty cool because they've been doing a great job with this whole thing, even though it's kind of like chaotic. Like they did a pretty good job of everybody getting their stuff in. So, you know, with the TLC match, I'm pretty excited because those fans, you know, in the metro area they're going to definitely appreciate it, no doubt about it. Bucs training camp yesterday, obviously the biggest story was David Walker and unfortunately being out for the year, tearing his ACL. Worried at all about the depth of the pass rushing situation? Do you think the Bucs make a minor move, or do you think it'll be status quo and they kind of look at guys like Marquise Watson, Jose Ramirez going, hey, we've kind of been in this situation the last couple of years, time for you to step up?
It's upsetting for sure because David Walker goes from a small school to finally getting a shot in the NFL and was very exciting, you know, during OTAs and minicamp and had a good start to training camp before he got injured on Friday and is now out for the year. As long as you still have Yaya Diaby and Hassan Reddick, the Bucs will be in a good spot at outside linebacker. But now a lot rides on the growth and development of Chris Braswell. Now he's looked good in training camp, but we've only had one day of full pads, which was yesterday. You have a steady Eddie, all reliable in Anthony Nelson. I don't think the Bucs will look outside because, as you mentioned, you know, Jose Ramirez and Marquise Watts, they're kind of like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at this point. They will just fight forever competing for one of those last spots. There's another guy, Peebles, who's kind of undersized that may compete. it's definitely a blow, but a lot of this rides on Chris Braswell. Can he be that guy that you trust as your outside linebacker 3, or is Anthony Nelson going to kind of jump in there and take a spot? And Marquise Watts does have a role. He got injured last year, but he had that flash in the pan moment against the Titans 2 seasons ago. I think overall it's obviously tough with David Walker, but I think the Bucs outside linebackers will be just fine.
What did you make of the offensive struggles yesterday? Do you think it was more because, listen, Tristan Wirfs isn't in there, Charlie Heck in that offensive line, they're obviously kind of a work in progress there, or is it because the defense is just getting better, clearly getting better, or is it a combination of both?
So I think we got to remember yesterday, like Mike Evans didn't really participate. The Bucs have a pitch count on him where he'll practice, he won't practice, he'll practice, he won't practice. And even on the days where he doesn't practice, he'll come out and warm up, but then doesn't do 11 on 11s and stuff like that. Right. So you're asking a lot of the offense when there's no Mike and there's no Chris. Obviously, we have a lot of trust and faith and belief in Emeka Egbuka, certainly, and Jalen McMillan, who proved it towards the end of last season. But to be honest with you, Jay, I think it's all about the Bucs defense. They've definitely looked better early on in training camp, particularly the secondary. They are swarming everywhere. Tight coverage. Kindle Vildor, a guy that I thought was just kind of going to be an afterthought, making some interceptions. Christian Izien looks pretty good. Jacob Parrish recording several turnovers. Zion McCollum doing his thing. Some great one-on-one matchups with Mike Evans throughout training camp. Benjamin Morrison looks up to the billing of why they picked him in the second round and why he had a first-round talent. I've been really impressed with the overall coverage of the Bucs secondaries at corner and safety as well. Antoine Winfield Jr. dropped the interception yesterday, but he had an incredible first day of practice with 2 interceptions. Tyke Smith made a highlight play in the end zone the other day. I love what I'm seeing from the Bucs secondary.
It's a beautiful thing. Hold on one second, Matt. Let me read.
Looks like I'm hosting the show. What up, everybody?
Back. All right, good. There we go. I was just not getting any of my my stuff on here, so I just wanted to make sure everything was good. All right, we're good. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to ask you is Tyke Smith. He was a guy that was really looking like an absolute beast yesterday, and I just think he's a guy, when you look at him, and I was talking to our pal Greg Allman about this, and he just frees it up everything, and especially for a guy like Antoine Winfield Jr. Yeah. Like, what have you seen from Tyke Smith?
I think Tyke Smith and Antoine Winfield Jr., we can't anoint them just yet. We can with Antoine. Mm-hmm. But I think they have a great potential to be the top safety duo in the league. Like, I think that highly of Tyke Smith, and of course, a healthy Antoine Winfield Jr. has already proved that. But they can complement each other so well. We know how good Antoine Winfield Jr. is, when he wants to go up to the line of scrimmage, blitz, and get after the quarterback. Well, Tyke Smith can do that too. So now Todd Bowles has all the faith in the world that he can keep Antoine back on one play and send up Tyke, or keep Tyke back and send up Antoine Winfield Jr. They both are ball hawks for sure. I love how Tyke Smith has started building this reputation as a guy that's taken over the peanut punch and knocking out the football. He's always going for the football. He's got a great IQ for the game. I mean, Todd Bowles was talking all about this last year, but it's continued to show itself this year in training camp as well. Now that he's just playing safety and not really playing in the slot, and there is a great competition for the slot as well, I think the sky's the limit for Tyke Smith, and this duo of Tyke and Antoine Winfield Jr., they're going to be something special this year.
Shiloh Sanders is a guy that, gets asked about a lot, obviously because of his last name and, his upbringing and all that jazz. And he's the last guy signing every day. And he's really just dove into being not just a member of the Buccaneers, but just a member of this Tampa Bay community. But I guess the realistic question is, like, what are his chances of making the team, making the practice squad? Like, now as we start kind of looking through and start parsing through some of the numbers of, what this 53 could look like, what do you say when it comes to Shiloh and his spot on this team?
I think there's a role for Shiloh in the organization because you hit the nail on the head. I mean, Shiloh would be out there for 3 hours after practice if the Bucs brass and security and people didn't have to take him and bring him back into the building, because everybody is screaming for Shiloh, want pictures, autographs, and all that stuff. I mean, he had a I don't want to say a routine pass breakup because he was able to cut in front and knock the ball away a couple of practices ago. And he started whooping up the crowd and everybody was chanting, Shiloh, Shiloh, Shiloh. Everybody was in a frenzy when it happened. With that said, the skill set is limited a little bit. I think he's got a great chance for the practice squad. I just don't really see him on the active roster, at least for the start of training camp, because J.J. Roberts is the guy that the Bucs committed a lot more money to in terms of money that you pay for undrafted free agents. He had a big hit yesterday on a pass breakup. It's going to come down to special teams and things like that. There's no denying the attention that Shiloh has brought to Tampa Bay. I see him on the practice squad, though. I think he can make the practice squad, no doubt about it. I don't know about the active roster, at least for the start of training camp, until, injuries happen and people got to be moved around and stuff like that. But I don't think this will be the last that we see of Shiloh once the summer is over.
Do you think that he will get picked up by a different team then? Because, we know how that day is, like that last cut down day, and things start moving and people are like, all right, well, you're filling up practice squads, and you'll see a guy that was designated to probably go to one team's practice squad, but he ends up going to another team and making their 53. Do you think Shiloh is going to accept that assignment, or do you think he'll probably look elsewhere? Maybe look to Cleveland, or look at some of these teams that maybe aren't as deep at the safety spot and give him an opportunity?
I mean, I think you have to take it if it's being on an active NFL roster versus the practice squad. I mean, there's so many more benefits and payday. Certainly, you would have to take that opportunity. And if you're being signed to an active roster, well, it shows that team has a little more interest in you and certainly has the depth to bring you in versus what Tampa Bay has, at the safety position, which is also really interesting because outside of Winfield and Smith, it's all undrafted free agents in that safety room. So that's just kind of an odd caveat right there. Shiloh has also said on one of his streams before, he's not used to being in one place for a while because he hopped around to a couple of different college football teams, was with South Carolina, and then followed his dad to Jackson State and then Colorado. So he's kind of used to moving around to all different places. It would kind of tie in with his storyline of come to Tampa and then going somewhere else. I would like to see him stay in Tampa again with the fan base that he's kind of cultivated here, but it would be hard to say, no, I'm going to stay on the practice squad versus taking a shot somewhere else where you're on the active roster.
Yeah, and if he doesn't get the practice squad here, somebody else will probably pick him up for the practice squad. I don't think he'd be a guy without it because there is skill there. Just depends on what he can do and how can he can translate to the NFL. My sister was just texting me too. Her brother-in-law texted me, and my sister says, "Are you famous now?" And I go, "What?" And then she goes, "My brother-in-law just sent this to me in our family's group chat. It's my tweet about Desmond Watson getting picked up by freaking Barstool." It's pretty crazy. I did not think it was going to go that, but this Desmond Watson situation, our pal Logan Robinson did something earlier in the off season, and something he put out there got, huge with Desmond Watson. So like, what do you make of this entire situation with Big Des? He's out there walking laps around the third practice field, barefoot, 400 plus pounds. Just what's your take on the entire thing?
Like how people are paying attention to it, or just
everything, like
everything.
Opportunity of making the team one day.
Yeah.
And like, are you surprised they didn't lose more weight between the last time we see him and now? Like,
yeah, I'm a little surprised that he hasn't reached his weight goal. Now, it's a little, I don't know. We can't really put ourselves in his shoes. Like he is a massive human being, and I'm sure it's not that easy to go and lose the weight the same way that it is for other people. But, the Bucs gave him clearly a plan, a wish list, a guide, whatever you want to say, for, hey, you got to reach this weight and this level by the start of training camp. And, at this point, he's not with the Gators anymore. Like, he is a professional athlete, or at least trying to be a professional athlete. And it kind of looks like, well, maybe you didn't really put in the work if, you didn't reach the goal to the point where the Bucs say, you cannot practice until you lose this weight. And, I'm certainly not in the best shape myself and not a fitness expert and everything like that. I have been at practice as well, sweating it out with everyone else. But I don't know how much just like walking a couple of laps around the field is going to help him lose like what is he cutting weight like a UFC fighter? Like
yeah, that's my point. Like I'm thinking the same thing you are. On one hand, I'm thinking like, how much weight is he really losing by doing this? And then on the other hand, I'm going, maybe he is losing weight because he has so much of it, right? Because you and I, if we're out there every day, like we're losing water weight being out there. It may be a fraction, right? It may not be a ton, but I wouldn't be surprised if like after a day at training camp, they were like, you know what, Jay and Matt, you lost 2 pounds today because you were outside sweating your ass off. Like I wouldn't be surprised with that, but imagine if it's him constantly moving and he's that big. Like I don't know where, because we don't really know, as much as we think like the Bucs don't get down to this, but we don't really know what their whole plan was. Like it's not like they put it on the internet like, hey, this is our 10-step plan to get Desmond down to 360.
Like I want to know the number that he has to reach. Like is it 400? Is it 375? Like how far away is he from actually going and participating? Now, the possibility of him making this team, again, he's another guy that's destined for the practice squad. I mean, at this point, he's not participating in training camp. He's not going to get in preseason games. You're not going to put him on the active roster. He hasn't practiced yet.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, there's no denying his gargantuan size, putting him in a goal line situation, trying to stop the tush push or, 4th and inches type of play. Outside of losing the weight, I'm curious if he can match the speed that it takes to play in the NFL. Because there are other guys that are huge, but if you're not able to move at all or in any capacity, well, you're still not really helping the team. So the biggest thing outside of, making the weight to actually go out and practice is, can he stick with the speed of the NFL, or at least a good enough amount of speed for him to be an impact player for the Bucs? And that's why I think you put him on the practice squad, and then we'll see what happens with game day elevations and things of that nature. I think there's a role for him, but he's got to do it himself.
What is that role then? Because that, like, the more and more we talk about it, and I mentioned it before you hopped on, like, Ian is like, so like, he doesn't even like talking about this because you're taking up spot, you're taking up, like, I don't even know if the more and more we talk about it, Matt, I don't know if he does make the practice squad, because as you just alluded to, he's not even practicing. He's not even going to get in a preseason game. And we know how valuable those practice squad spots are. Yeah. And we saw like Sterling Shepard start on the practice squad last year, and he's playing meaningful games in the middle of the year when Godwin and Evans goes down. So it's not like back in the day where you stash a guy and you keep him there like, you might not see him. Like, especially with how they changed the elevations over the years, like it's not the same way. Like guys aren't rotting away on the practice squad anymore. I don't know if he does make the practice squad, especially because he didn't lose the weight. It seems like he still looks just as big. What do you think the Bucs do see in him? That the fact that if he does figure this out, he could be a guy that you throw in there on early downs. And like, it seems like what they think he could be is so far down. I don't know if we're going to be able to get there.
Well, it depends on how many defensive tackles the Bucs want to keep on the active roster. Because you got to think Vita Kalija for sure, Logan Hall, that's no doubt about it. Greg Gaines just returned. He's going to be the primary backup for Vita Vea at nose tackle. And Elijah Roberts, the 5th-round pick from this latest draft, it would make no sense to cut him after not even playing. So we're talking about guys like Mike Green, C.J. Brewer, Adam Gotsis. These are all guys that are practicing. They're probably all competing for one spot. And now C.J. Brewer and Mike Green have been guys that have like kind of fluctuated from the practice squad.
And we've seen them. We've seen them the last couple of years, So, yeah.
So, like, I think he could be an eventual backup nose tackle type of situation. I mean, he doesn't really have versatility. But, I mean, he's a gigantic size. If he could just clog up the middle, take up the space of the center or the center and guard, blocking combination trying to move him. I mean, there's no denying his size. There's obviously, if he can get to the gap the way that, Todd Bowles would like him to, the size is a spectacle for a reason. Again, it's like Andre the Giant. Like everybody wants to look at it. If he can show that quickness enough, well, he's going to be able to kind of manipulate what the offense wants to do on a certain run play. I don't know how much he really brings pass rushing, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, it really comes down to the size and the mobility. His size is going to be what gets him a ticket into the NFL. It's, can he do anything else? Now, if he's not practicing at all, another team may kind of take him on the practice squad, but it might be something where maybe the Bucs don't keep him on the practice squad, but they kind of say, hey, well, if we do open up room throughout the season, we might be able to bring you on. But yeah, I mean, he's got to prove it, and he's not.
Are you more impressed with Emeka Egbuka's maturity on the field or preparedness? Well, maturity off the field, or his preparedness and how he doesn't look like a rookie on it?
I'm more impressed, with his off the field stuff. We just had, you were there yesterday as well. His press conference yesterday, he's just so dialed in. I love the fact that he's like a multi-sport athlete and didn't just focus on football his whole career. I think that's kind of helped shape him into being the athlete that he is today. He clearly hates losing. He clearly is competitive at everything, but does it in a very humble way. Right. At the same time, he hasn't walked in being like, I'm the man. And it's kind of hard to be when you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin in the room. I loved hearing what he had to say about his relationship with Chris Godwin, calling him a godsend, talking about their friendship that just goes outside of football, off the field, and kind of learning from him. So I think Emeka Egbuka has the ability to be a star for this team. Who knows about this year, because you still have Mike and Chris Godwin, but he's here for at least 4 years, probably 5 years, because he got that extra year with being a first-round pick. And he's checking all of the right boxes. I still think there's a lot more to go with what he's done in training camp so far. He's looked good. He had a touchdown yesterday. I still think there's a lot more room to grow, which is a great sign for this team. So I'm very high on Emeka Egbuka. I would sprinkle a little bit of cash on him to be the offensive rookie of the year.
Where do you rank him and Jalen McMillan?
It's interesting because I think Jalen McMillan last year, when he was a rookie in training camp, so right around the same time, he was much further ahead as far as like production, big plays, and stuff like that compared to what Emeka Egbuka is doing right now. Now, obviously, we all saw how the season played out, and McMillan took him a little bit longer to kind of, really show how he can impact this team and everything like that. But this year, it's been a little quiet from Jalen McMillan. He had one nice play, a deep ball down the field from Baker. The Bucs actually just tweeted it out not too long ago. I think Egbuka is probably going to be wide receiver 2 for as long as Chris Godwin is going to be out, because he plays that Chris Godwin role as well. Now, the Bucs' base offense is 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receivers. McMillan's just more of that outside guy. Haven't seen a ton from him in training camp, but I'm not concerned at the same time. He's going to be a little bit more of a deep ball threat. He's going to be that outside guy where you can move Mike around a little bit. You can move Emeka Egbuka around a little bit. But I think until Chris Godwin returns, you're looking at Mike 1, Emeka Egbuka 2, Jalen McMillan 3.
And before I let you go, what about the back end of the wide receivers? Seeing how many guys that they can keep. And I was having this conversation with somebody last night. I was going through. I was like, damn, there's 9 guys right there that like we know their names, right? You know their names. And how many do you think they're going to keep, and who has really stood out to you so far? And it's, a guy like Sterling Shepard is obviously kind of on that fringe. We know why he's here. He's not going to be a special teams guy. Right. How do you shake out that kind of middle to the back end of that depth chart?
It's really good competition for sure. Now, Chris Godwin's going to play a role in this one way or another, because if they put him on the PUP list to start the season, then he's going to be out for 4 games. That opens up another spot. I think the Bucs are going to keep 6 wide receivers, just because they're such a talented group. And Tez Johnson has really impressed me, and not just because he's amazing on the mic and, can cut a WWE promo. But Tez Johnson is impacting going deep. He's impacting going across the middle and on short passes and screens too. I've been very impressed with Tez Johnson. I think it's pushed Trey Palmer a good amount as well. There's a guy, Houston, number 89, that is getting a lot more targets than I really would have thought have. I don't think he's going to make the team. One guy that's been really quiet is Rakim Jarrett, a dude that, might be on his last leg of trying to make this team. He's had a lot of opportunities. The interesting thing is Sterling Shepard as well, because he did start last year on the practice squad, and he's been pretty vocal about he doesn't want to play anywhere else. He is at the tail end of his career. He only wants to play with Baker Mayfield. If I'm the Bucs, I'm saying, well, why don't we keep him on the practice squad? Because if another team says, hey, why don't you come play with us? You're going to go, no, I want to stay in Tampa and I want to play with Baker if that opportunity comes around. So in an odd way, I think Shepard's loyalty might benefit the Bucs a little bit more, where you can keep him on the practice squad and give opportunities to other guys as well. So I think Palmer's going to make this team. Tez Johnson's going to make this team. The frustrating thing, man, is Cameron Johnson, who was electric last year, made some good plays this year on deep balls down the field. He hasn't practiced the last 2 days. Something came up once again where he's injured. And if he can't be available, well, the Bucs aren't going to hold a spot for him. So it's going to be great competition. Obviously, the preseason games will dictate it too. But right now, Tez Johnson is certainly a guy that has really stood out more than most.
Matt, let everybody know what's going on during training camp over there at Pewter Report and pewterreport.com, Pewter Report TV, and all that jazz.
Yeah, so Pewter Report podcast is on our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. We mostly go at 4 o'clock. We won't have one today because practice is tonight, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week, we'll have it at 4 o'clock, recapping every training camp practice that's been going on. We've done a couple of emergency podcasts as well, like reacting to the David Walker ACL news, unfortunately, with that one. But yeah, that's all on Pewter Report TV. We do a couple of quick recaps as well and other content on our YouTube channel. So that's Pewter Report TV and at Pewter Report for all of our other social media.
Yeah, and I saw, who posted something about like soap hockey? What was that?
Yeah, so myself and Sly, Adam Slavon, also of pewterreport.com, we got approached with an opportunity to do play-by-play for this thing called the Big Boy Soap Hockey League. It was started. There's a guy, he's a fan of Pewter Report and the Bucs and the Pewter Report podcast, and he reached out to us, but he owns like a production company and everything like that. So it's essentially you get like a blue tarp, and apparently this is like really big in like Europe and in other places, but you get a big blue tarp, 2 nets, and you put soap and water on it. It's essentially like playing deck hockey, but on a slip and slide. But there's great production and everything like that. We filmed it about a month or 2 ago, and it's going to be on ESPN2 on Saturday, August 2nd at 10:30. So you'll hear myself.
Oh my God.
And we're officially on ESPN now.
Bro, that is so amazing. I thought that was just something that was like coming up in the works. Like this is already done.
Yeah, it's already been recorded and everything, and it's going to air on August 2nd. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. I've done some play-by-play before, some hockey and stuff like that. So excited to get back, or that I already did it, but looking forward to seeing me getting back into the booth and doing some play-by-play. It was a lot of fun. And
what time again? What time
it's
again?
It's at 10:30, I believe. On
AM
August
or PM?
PM. So
10:30 Saturday night after SummerSlam is over.
Yeah.
August 2nd. Well, you're going to be at the wedding and you're making your ESPN2 debut?
Yeah, I mean, that's what pre-record is for and stuff like that. You know, what are you going to do?
It's a beautiful thing, man. I can't wait. I'm definitely going to DVR that at my parents'
I
house.
appreciate that.
The great Matt Matera, Pewter Report. Make sure you go check out my friends at Pewter Report, Scott Reynolds, on the entire crew, Matty4_Matera. Always a pleasure, my friend. Enjoy the wedding. I can't wait to watch that. I cannot wait. And then when you go back and watch SummerSlam, man, enjoy that too. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll talk soon. I'll see you later on tonight.
All right. Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, Jay.
You got it, pal.